Thank you, Carol. That was great. And anyone who has been here when Carol has played, I always say when Carol plays, I feel like we're at brunch and we need to pass the mimosas.
We'll have a virtual mimosa from me.
Virtual mimosa, yes, thank you. Okay, so welcome everyone. And as we mentioned earlier, today is an abbreviated service because we will be holding our annual meeting right after a short break after the service. So welcome to our Halloween celebration. Halloween's this Saturday, and it's great that Halloween's falling on a Saturday because then kids can go out and trick or treat. And I know that even with COVID, towns have set up in like municipal parking lots or school parking lots so that kids can wear their masks and still enjoy this celebration. And masks meaning both their costume masks and their safety masks. Now the thing about Halloween is we get a chance to play. We get to go out and display an alter ego, act out a fantasy. And once we put on that costume or mask, we get to pretend we're someone or something else. We can retreat, we can escape from our everyday lives. I marvel at how actors can totally embrace and become a character that is nothing like who they really are. They lose themselves in that character that they're playing. And I've heard from various actors in interviews, specifically when they're playing a difficult part, that they immerse themselves so deeply into that part that they're playing, into that character, that they actually become that character. And it's difficult shaking it off when they return to themselves. They forget who they really are. And that's such an important point to make here. They forget who they really are. The truth is, we all forget who we really are. In William Shakespeare's comedy, As You Like It, he writes, all the world's a stage, and all men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances. And one man in his time plays many parts. Shakespeare goes on to describe the 7 stages of life and the roles we play during our life, from entrance, birth, to our exit, which is death, where we change from the crying infant to childhood to adolescence to adulthood to middle age to mature middle age, and then returning to be childlike before we make our exit. So according to Shakespeare, we complete a circle from who we are at birth to who we are when we return to infancy in the later part of our years. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts. Now notice that he lists exits before entrance. In all the research I did, I didn't find one reference that addresses why Shakespeare structured the verse listing exits before entrances. Again, he explains the 7 stages from birth to death, but he lists exits first, then entrance. So how can a person leave before they arrive? Now, I believe what Shakespeare alluded to, be it intentional or not, is that when we're born, we exit the awareness of our divine nature, our true existence, our oneness of God. We exit the awareness of complete wholeness and oneness. When we enter the world of form, we take on the mask of the ego. Our true self has no masks, has no personas, and has no reason to be anything other than it is. It's only in the world of form where we've been given a body, experience duality, hide, and put on masks of protection. We put on masks because we're fearful. We feel vulnerable. We feel unacceptable. Because deep within, we know that the physical world is not our true home. So how can we feel safe in the world when we know it's not our true home? Yet the more we accept the truth about ourselves and others, that we are beings of light and love, the more able we are to remove those masks. The closer we get to owning and expressing our true identity. We mirror for one another not only our vulnerabilities, but the truth about our inherent divinity. It's our choice on where we want to live and how we want to function and what we want to see. We're all on a mission to remove those masks, to eliminate those personas and the roles the world has us believing we need to fit into. We're all on a mission to permanently remove anything that keeps us from knowing the Christ within us and within each person. The more we accept and see that truth for ourselves, the more we'll be able to accept it and see it in others. Hebrews 4:13 says, "Nothing in all creation is hidden from God's sight. Not everything is uncovered and laid bare before the eyes of him to whom we must give account." There is nothing we can do to hide or deny the truth of who we are, a divine expression of God. We are loved. We will always be loved. There is nothing that can separate us from our Creator or one another. And in that verse, when they say answer to, it's our Creator that we answer to, because that's the only truth. Romans 8:38 says, "For I am convinced that neither death nor life, neither angels nor rulers, neither the present nor the future, nor any powers, neither height nor depth, nor anything in all creation will be able to separate us from God." Can't get any clearer than that. Nothing can separate us from God. Each of the 7 stages that Shakespeare defines comes with their own set of masks. And I would say that the only stage where masks do not exist is in that first stage of infancy and that final stage when we make our transition and go home. The author Alan Cohen says that when we're here in the world, we experience an identity theft. He says, "There's an even more insidious form of identity theft that has hijacked far more than your credit card account. This theft has caused you to forget who you are and believe that you are small, limited, and powerless, a denial of your true self and an assertion of a false you. Grand theft identity began soon after you arrived on Earth. Parents, teachers, siblings, authority figures told you that you are inept, insignificant, ugly, stupid, unworthy, and sinful, and that the world is a dangerous jungle with threats at every turn. Over time, you began to believe these terrible lies until the day came when you forgot your innate beauty, strength, innocence, and safety. Eventually, you adopted an identity contrary to your divine nature and have since lived as someone you are not. And because we've forgotten who we are, we feel vulnerable. In order to protect ourselves, we adopt a persona or mask that makes us feel acceptable and will allow us to feel like we fit in. There's a story about a princess who was kidnapped as a child and taken to live among the fishmongers. She grew up amidst piles of fish, smelled like them, and adopted the mentality of a struggling vendor. Years later, one of the king's servants found the princess and brought her back to the royal palace. Her parents welcomed her joyfully and showed her to her elegant room with a plush bed, fine linens, colorful flowers, aromatic incense, a breathtaking view, and service at her beck and call. During her first night in the palace, the princess tossed and turned and cried out, Get me out of here. I want to go home. What the princess didn't realize was that she was home. Elegance, royalty, and riches were her birthright. But she had forgotten and gotten so used to living among foul smells, poverty, that she believed those conditions were her true place in life. The same goes for us. We've forgotten who we really are. We live amongst conflict and turmoil, and we think that's the way things are supposed to be. Normal does not equal natural. Like the princess, we've all become accustomed to living in a place which is less than we deserve. We play a character that is not who we are. If you tell yourself a story long enough, you begin to believe it. You begin to believe that it's real. The world you see is based on mass illusions that appear to be real because so many people agree with them and base their lives on them. Yet nothing can make fiction true. The only cure for mistaken identity is to remember who we are. No matter how good of actors we are at playing a role, no matter how good we're at immersing ourselves in the part, so much so that we forget who we are, we cannot make fiction true. It's just a story. Unless we remember who we are, our unseparated self will continue to play the characters. Yes, all the world's a stage and we are merely its players. Only when we forget who we really are, only when we experience identity theft, that's the letter I, identity theft. It's I am. So unless your career is being an actor, save the masks for Halloween when you intentionally pretend to be something you're not. Release the barriers that keep you from your true identity and know that you are now and always have been one with God and all of creation. So I invite you to join with me as I literally take off our mask, but figuratively we take off those masks that keep us from knowing our Christ self. Amen. So now I invite you to close your eyes as we move into meditation. Just remove anything that's on your lap. Place your feet flat on the floor. Get comfortable in your seat and just let go. And just allow yourselves to breathe. And within each breath you take, you become more and more relaxed. And just allow yourself to breathe naturally. Don't force it. Allow it to slow down at its own pace. And let go. Just let go. Feel your muscles relaxing. Feel those thoughts in your mind just slowing down. And we focus on this present moment. Feel the presence of God within you now. Feel that divine energy that radiates from your heart center. And feel that energy of love just expanding throughout your entire being. Feel your awareness of the love that is you, expanding outside of you, expanding to encompass the town you're in, the state you're in, this country, all countries, the entire universe. Love is who we are. Love is our expression. Love is our divine inheritance. And when we remove the masks that we've gathered and put on in the world of form, what's left is truth. The truth of who we are, the love that we are. So right now, in this very moment, allow yourselves to look at the masks that you carry with you through life. Look at those mistaken identities that contribute to our lack of recognizing and being who we truly are. Allow yourselves to feel the love and the peace that is you. So I invite you to bring to mind anything you're having difficulty releasing, anything that stands in the way from you recognizing and living the love and the peace that you are. And I invite you to bring that with you and give it to the Holy Spirit. So I invite you to move deeper and deeper into the silence and just listen. Now I invite you to bring to mind anyone who may be in need of prayer, all those on our prayer list on Silent Unity, anyone who is suffering on any level in their life. We affirm the Christ within them, the power and the presence within them will move them along their paths and assist them in moving through whatever circumstances are occurring right now. We affirm peace of mind, the awareness of love, and the awareness of the presence of the Christ within each person will move them away from pain, away from sorrow, and assist them in recognizing their true self. And in your mind, I'd like you to affirm with me, I am love. I am Christ. I am peace. I am serenity. I am. And when you're ready, I invite you to bring your consciousness back into the room where you are, back into your body. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Welcome back. This is the time in our service where we have the opportunity to give. So I invite you, in whatever method you give, whether it be with a credit card, a check, using our PayPal symbol, using the link that Sherry provides, I want you to see that symbol in your hands. And I invite you to see that this gift is an expression of who we are. These gifts are our sharing with the world. These gifts are ours to give from our heart as we infuse them with all our love. We know that we are in the divine flow, that God is source and consciousness our supply. And we give from the level of consciousness that is the highest and best for us. So I invite you to bless these gifts with me while your mics are muted. And together, divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I choose to give and all that I'm open to receive, and I am grateful.